Hey, I'm Fred Falke.
I'm Alan Braxe.
And we're in the studio with Music Radar to talk about the process behind the making of intro.
It was very basic. So the centerpiece was this machine, the SP1200 from EMU. It's a sampler. There was another sampler, SR10 from Ensoniq, which is a kind of workstation where you can sample and arrange, do synthesis of samples, etc. Just a mixer, a compressor, a very cheap compressor, the Alesis 3630, which is very well known for pumping. And basically, that's it. One synthesizer and one multi-FX from Ensoniq, the DP4, which has phasing, fader, reverb, delays, etc., all in one. And so, yeah, no computer at all. One turntable, vinyl, and sampling. That's it. I went to a record store at one point, like once a month by that time, looking for records from the 70s or the 80s, this kind of records. So I bought like 20 records, singles or albums. And once you've done that, what you do is you listen and you sample. And I was in this type of session, like in the morning, I was listening to a 12-inch. And I played this record from the Jet, the song Crush on You, and this bit was played, and instantly I felt like, okay, there is something there. This is a sample. It's easy to loop. It makes sense to loop it. So I sampled it in this machine, which has a very specific sound. I added the drums. I saved it on a floppy disk like this, and I went to Fred's place. Fred had the same instrument in his studio, so I just had to bring the floppy with me. We loaded the floppy in Fred's EMU SP1200, and then Fred played the bass, because we came to the conclusion that probably a bass was missing. Just with the sample and drums was not enough, so Fred played the bass, and then we started to make an arrangement of the track. Yeah, so it's very simple, mainly because this sampler is simple. The maximum sampling time you have there is 10 seconds. You cannot sample more than that. So it's originally dedicated to drum samples. So it's 10 seconds in the machine, and you cannot exceed 2 seconds, 5 per sample. So at that time, the strategy in order to deal with this timing factor was to play the record faster, much faster than its original speed. So the record for the Jets was 33 RPM. So I played 45 RPM. Thus, you save time. And so I played it at this speed. And after, I detune it. And what makes this sampler special is when you detune a sample, there are a lot of artifacts coming into the sound. It sounds really crispy. And you can really hear it like on both sides, pitch up or pitch down. So I sampled it in several. Okay, so it's 4 samples. So that's the loops from the Jets. And then there is a kick drum, which I sampled at this speed. It's the same process. Pitch down. That's it. And this, which is a kind of percussion. So basically, the drums are made of up plus this. And then you add the sample alone. So, oops, séquence 11 mix. Sorry. Up. So you have a mixer in this machine. Basically, that's it. So that's on the mixer. That was here we are on the mix output. But there was one channel for the sampler, for the sample, and probably one channel for this and this. So this is 2 channels. The sample was processed with a phaser from the DP4, and that's it. One thing we don't have here is the compressor. The Alice's compressor, and it played a huge role in the sound of the track because it makes it really pump like. And so this is what I brought to Fred's place, and then Fred played his magic with the bass.
So Alan brought the sample, we put it in my SP, and yeah, was looping around. So obviously the idea was to modulate, the original. So yeah, F minor, right, and then you jam it on. That's the thing. So as the thing was rolling, you start play the sequence, right, and then it just so it goes like and where do we go there? And you just go with the like. Oh, whoa, it works, right? So and then, I don't know, probably the beat, you want to, and then you go, I don't know, I mean, it took some time, right, to find the groove, and then, I don't know, at some point, it's there, and you're like, whoa, oh, that's cool, let's record this, but we didn't look any further. It wasn't like we had one bass line, we said, okay, let's try this one, and then we choose from. We went to a point where we were like, oh, that's it. So it's like, I mean, it's basic, right? Like kick drum and then against, and then rinse, repeat. And then it goes like, oh yeah, it's missing something, right? So you go. Oh, yeah. Still missing, right? Well, yeah. that's good. Whatever. And that one was great because he had the little thing at the end. So because that's the whole thing with those loops, you want something that you can hear over and over and over. And I love this bass part that you can sing along, like let's say, I mean, Billie Jean, another one, Bites the Dust. All those tracks, they start with this bass line, right? It's infectious. It's like, and everyone can sing it, even though it's a bass line. And that's what I love about. I always sing the bass lines in my head when I looking for bass lines. I do, because I want to be able to. It has to be some kind of melody. Even it doesn't have to be complicated. I mean, that one is not complicated, right? It's like fundamental, and then like going back from the seventh. So it's like it's very simple, but it's memorable. And that's the thing, is like the whole track is simple, but it's memorable. And I think that's why like people, it was catchy for people because it's like it's instant. You can really sing along the stuff. I mean, the way it was recorded, pretty straightforward. The bass was plugged into a sampler, the Ensoniq SR10. That's it. There was no pre. There was no.
There was nothing.
There was nothing.
Just
right?
nothing into the SR10, and from the SR10 into the mixer. Probably a bit of high on the mixer we had. It
was a small Mackie desk, so it's just like I don't know. It's
there
like,
was just bass and high boost.
Yeah, 10K, 100. That's it.
Fixed frequencies. So we just boosted bass and high, and couldn't do more simple.
We were not engineers. We didn't have like EQs and stuff. The whole point, we wanted the stuff to sound like a record, and it sounded like a record kind of straight away. So yeah, I mean, it was straightforward. I got that question. I get lost a lot. Yeah, what kind of pre?
But
no pre's.
And the input of this machine is really important. It's a bit like you have a co-producer working with you, and the guy is going to tell you, no, you are not going to do this, you cannot do this, you cannot sample more, you cannot edit this way. It's going to sound like that, and the co-producer you're working with is defining 50% or maybe 70% of how the record will sound. And this co-producer is this machine, in fact. So it's... we would have done intro on a computer. I'm pretty sure we wouldn't have.
Limitations always an inspiration, right? You push forward because you only have that to work around with. If you start, let's say, just for the bass, I don't know, I have like 2-3 preamps and then a DI and then active electronics. I didn't use the P bass on that track, by the way, but like. We didn't. It was an active bass. I didn't use the electronics either. Like, it went really, really simple. Like, no EQ, nothing. Like, and because it's that simple, then you don't think twice, right? Because otherwise we'll be like, oh, that's great, but like, let's try this one now. Let's try this one, and it's not worth it really.
MIDI sequence. Yeah, you have a sequencer in this, so you have 100 sequence. And you can launch through MIDI. You can launch any sound. Could be a synthesizer or the bass, which was in the SR10. So I could press here, and it's going to play Fred's bass.
It's going to trigger the sample in MIDI. So and those machines have this very, very tight MIDI clock. Yeah. So it's very fast, snappy.
So it's a bit like the MPC60 MIDI production centers. This can be the centerpiece of your studio. Although this one is much more simple than an MPC60 or 3000.
I wanted to keep the original, like, think about like when George Lucas, before episode 1, 2, 3, right, 4, 5, 6 got the Redux thing, right. And that was kind of my approach, because like, you don't want to change it that much, but you want to change it. So, and I had this idea straight to, when I jumped into the stuff, I wanted to get the idea very fast, because that's the way I work. When, at least in the beginning, I'm catching up ideas really, really fast. And so the idea was to start from the original bass, like, and then maybe make it a little bit different. So it goes like, it's different, right? But same flavor. And from there, have this unexpected analog synth breakdown. It's all made with analog synthesizer. It's been a nightmare. I won't lie. Like just the arpeggio, like was like a nightmare to do. And from there, like yeah, just here comes the new groove. I changed a bit the groove. A friend of mine came to the studio, played the guitar. I wanted to bring close to what I've been doing, you know, like kind of like yeah, make it my own as a remix should do. And yeah, that's it. But yeah, the whole thing when the creative process were really fast in the beginning. I just like lay down a sketch of stuff because I'm working with like MIDI sequence, so you can't really spend too much time. And once I had the the backbone, then I took the time. Especially the part that took me the biggest time was the analog breakdown. Like I use a lot of synths there. You got a Prophet 5. There's a Mini Moog. An Oberheim 2 voice, CS80 for the glides and the pads. There is a MS10. There is a huge bass glide that goes at the end. So there's the MS10. There is a Solina string assembly. And none of these are MIDI, so you have to play everything. Yeah, it's but I was very happy with the result. And yeah, some of the pads I have this mod on my CS80 that's like a unison mod. So instead of playing the chords, you play note by note, which is very time consuming. But in the end, then you play one chord, like pan it left, one chord, pan it right, then different voicing of the same chord that you put the center. And then you get this huge stereo field instead of like, the CS80 has a nice chorus, but then yeah, chorus is always a kind of like yeah, dirty trick. Like you lose a lot of like the center with the chorus, so I didn't use the chorus on that one. But yeah, I mean after and then yeah, I mean everything was programmed like drum, yeah, sampled, a MIDI sequence stuff. I sampled the original drums, and yeah, that's it pretty much.
I mean, the original is good as it is, so it's not easy to approach this. So instead of putting pressure on me, I took it the other way. Sometime when before going to clubs, before I DJ, I do edits in my hotel room, like very fast on Ableton. I edit tracks. I mix tracks together, especially for that night. And I said to myself, okay, you should do this remix the same way. Don't think too much. Make it very fast. Make it sound raw. And that's it. I mean, I tried to keep the original intention of this type of music, which is just do it. Don't think, just do it. Honestly, I think no. We've been lucky on that one.
No, I mean it was, yeah. I mean it's great the way it was made. That's it. You know, it's just again, I would hate for it to be redone like the same way it was done, but let's say with different drums. That would be yeah.
I think it's almost impossible because I'm very often thinking about that because when we did this 20 years ago, sometimes I feel like we had no clue of what we were doing. And even if we do you give us, I mean, if you give me the same equipment now as 25 years ago, I'm not the same person. I know how a computer works. I know what you can do with a computer. I know what AI can do. And the context is completely different. So I'm not going to interact with the same equipment. I will probably instantly feel like, wow, this is really awesome. This is really doing the job perfectly. But globally, the way I'm going to interact with it won't be the same, because I'm not the same person as when I was 28 or 29.
I know a lot of times, like younger musicians or artists or producers I'm working with are asking me about these, they're like, and they say, oh, we bought ourselves a SP1200, like, and I tell them it's not about that really. It's like a state of mind, because we had those machines, they're great, but like that's what it was available back then. Most of them were used. It was cheap. That was the whole point. It's like making something that sounds like a record in your living room with a handful of machines. And I was kind of like, wow, that's cool. And so I tell them, like, it's all about like, yeah, making decisions, like, and don't look back. But you can do that with, you can achieve this kind of thing with any kind of piece of equipment. It's just about like
Absolutely.
a state of mind, like, oh, I have this idea, that's what I want to do. And often, yes, like with modern technology, especially computers, you can record. I could have done like so many bass lines nowadays. I could have gone, the ASR10 is like 16 megs or 32 megs. We didn't record that, like, because when it's too long, then the samples to edit it is like, it's to process the CPU power is like, it's insanely weak in those machines. But yeah, nowadays, it's, you can go to any session, and when I got remixes, for example, you open and you have like, oh, here's the bass line. And then you have all the ghost ones. And it's like 30 tracks just of bass, Yeah, it's just, I think for that kind of music, it's good to encapsulate an energy, a moment, a thought, like, done. I still have some of these old machines, so I don't have to save on floppies anymore. It's either like, SD card and computer, but like, yeah, I don't have any kind of fancy stuff to record the bass, really. I go straight into my sound interface. I sample things. I still have these old Roland samplers that I'm using to record things in, and then I MIDI sequence everything, so it's very... I went down the route of like the computer for a while, but then I found it's like getting into electric trains or Lego, basically. All my friends, they keep, getting plugins every week. Every week they're like, hey, have you tried this one? It's endless in the end. You just need, a handful, maybe 2 compressors, one slow, one fast. What else do you need, really? Unless, if you're not doing like a full facility production like here. But for what I'm doing, yeah, it's just like less is more, really.
It's a big problem for me. Constant hesitation between the computer and the hardware. The last time I really went back to the hardware it's probably like 5 or 6 years ago. I bought a Buka modular synthesizer, and I decided to make music just with a modular synthesizer, just using the oscillators, so building drums from a modular synthesizer. That was the last time I had a real hardware experience like in this time. But now I'm most of the time work with a computer, but I'm not really happy with it. But it's so convenient. The problem with this, sometimes I feel like when you work with this kind of equipment, you would need 2 studios. One studio which is dedicated to this type of equipment, with a recorder, and you record like sessions. And everything is MIDI, it's synced in MIDI, and you record. And then you do the post-production of these sessions in another studio with a computer. But if you try to interact, to put both worlds together, sometimes it's not super fun. Because you have to decide who's the boss. Is it a computer or is it this, even in terms of synchronization? I'm constantly in balance between these 2 worlds.
Bravo.